Knowledge is knowing that a tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is knowing not to put it in a fruit salad. Trans women or women has become the rallying cry of the trans rights movement. Many even use this belief as the litmus test to determine who is transphobic, including the most prominent trans YouTuber, ContraPoints.
Like, if this person doesn't think that trans women are men are women is a transphobic statement, then what would they consider a transphobic statement?
Although I'm not one to go around calling trans women men, and I'm usually happy to use people's preferred pronouns, I disagree that not believing trans women are literally women is transphobic. People who are gender critical prefer the traditional definition of adult human female to define women, emphasizing biological sex over gender identity. So, what makes someone a woman? How should we define these categories? First, it's important to make a distinction between the definitions of categories and how we treat or refer to members of those categories. For instance, koala bears aren't technically bears, even though we often refer to them as bears. Let's consider the tomato. Is it a fruit or a vegetable? In their article on this debate, Merriam-Webster gives the following definition of a fruit: the usually edible reproductive body of a seed plant, especially one having a sweet pulp. And they conclude that although a tomato isn't sweet, like other fruits, a tomato is a fruit since it is the reproductive body of a seed plant. Of course, we could consider other ways of defining fruits and vegetables, such as by looking at their general characteristics or uses. Fruits are sweet and go well in fruit salads, while vegetables are savory and go well in regular salads. However, a big problem with such definitions is that such considerations are inherently subjective. Is a sweet potato a fruit? Who determines whether something is more sweet or savory? What if people started putting tomatoes in fruit salads? This is why Hilary Putnam, in one of the most cited philosophy papers of all time, argued that words are defined by their relation to the material world. He notes that the essence of an object is not determined by our mental representations or stereotypes of it, but by its actual nature, which is often discovered through scientific investigation. For example, gold would be defined by its atomic number, which is 79, rather than its superficial categories such as its color or strength. Even if everyone mistakenly believed that fool's gold was gold, this shared belief wouldn't change the essence of the object. Conversely, even if we painted a piece of gold blue, it would still be gold, despite not having the color typical of gold. So, how should we define women? We of course have the traditional and biological definition of woman as an adult human female. We often have words to define the adult males and females of species. For instance, a doe is an adult female deer, while a buck is an adult male deer, so it would make sense that we'd have a similar term for adult human males and females. Some have attempted to change the definition of the term woman in order to be more inclusive to trans women, including the Cambridge Dictionary. They define woman as an adult who lives and identifies as female, though they may have been said to have a different sex at birth. By female, they state that they're not referring to sex here, so what are they referring to? Looking at their definition of female, they state belonging or relating to woman. This makes their definition of woman circular, which we can see here. What is a woman? A woman is an adult who lives and identifies as female. What is female? Female means belonging or relating to woman, but that's the term we're trying to define. But perhaps by female they mean someone who feels, presents, or acts feminine. Not only is this definition ambiguous, it is also sexist as it reinforces gender stereotypes, excludes masculine women, and it doesn't even solve the problem of including all trans women, many of whom might not want to present themselves in a feminine way. This is why I prefer the definition adult human female. Of course, even though we might define a category in a certain manner, we don't necessarily have to always treat things according to their category membership. The Supreme Court case of Nix v. Hedden is a perfect example of this concept. The case arose because of a dispute over tariff laws that imposed higher taxes on imported vegetables than fruits. Despite the fact that tomatoes are technically a fruit, the court ultimately ruled that they should be classified as a vegetable for the purposes of this law, due to their common culinary usage. So when someone calls a tomato a vegetable, I usually don't correct them, unless biology is relevant to that discussion. However, often biology is relevant when we discuss men and women, such as in athletic competitions. It isn't transphobic for women to insist on adult human female for women's sports. On the other hand, I do think at times it makes sense to provide reasonable accommodations for trans people. For instance, trans man Buck Angel would likely cause a disruption if he attempted to use the restroom aligned with his sex, and trans woman Blair White actually has a video where she attempts to use the men's restroom but subsequently gets kicked out of the establishment.
Sorry, can I ask you guys to leave?
We need to realize that well-intentioned people exist on both sides of the debate, and we can have a reasonable discussion about how to best accommodate trans individuals while respecting the rights of biological women. Finally, I'd like to note that the percent of people who believe that man and woman can be different from their birth sex is actually decreasing over time, from 44% in 2017 to 38% in 2022. I'm actually one of those people who used to say that trans women are women, and I think I did this because I wanted it to be true. But wanting something to be true does not make it so. And if we want to be able to talk honestly about issues that affect women, it's important to be able to acknowledge what a woman is: an adult human female.